So hi, also warm welcome from me here to the audience and also online. Everybody's joining. Thank you for joining and being interested. I hope you enjoy the afternoon and or morning, depending on where you are located, and enjoy all the presentations about that really cool topic. We're talking about digital twins today. So I want just to give actually a short update of what Simq is doing and what we're up to and how we position ourselves and what is that digital twins buzz all about, so and how we want to approach it. So basically our understanding of digital twins is combining simulation with AI and machine learning tools to personalize the patient care. So I think simulation is a great support tool. So physics-based simulation, as you would call it, is a great support tool to give objective data to ML or to provide them to train models. And also it is a great tool, or AI and ML is a great tool to interpret simulation results, because clinicians have to understand it very easily and have to be able to interpret it in a way that they can use it clinically. So with physicians, you should probably, or it's very difficult to talk about engineering results. So you have to break it down in an understandable way and also in a way that you don't interpret it wrongly. So it's not about that physicians don't understand it. They are usually very smart and probably smarter than me and others, but you have to break it down that you don't do in a very stressful environment, you don't make mistakes. So you have to have it right. That's very important. And for that, these technologies help a lot. So what I want also to talk about, so at the moment there's really this digital twins in medicine and these so-called in silico methods are really hyping at the moment. I think it is a good thing to be in a hype, but we have to show proof that we can really use it. So that's usually, if you know the Gartner hype cycle, if you're on top of the hype, there's a lot to do till it's really used in the clinical field. And I think this way is still a bit to go. We at Simq are thinking we are a bit a part of the rest of the technology world, or in this world, we're doing a good job in bringing it to the clinics, but it's still a way to go. And we are on a hype. And how you consider that and see it. So for example, at PubMed, if you search for the term digital twin, the hits are going up in the last years like crazy. So we're really like 1,500 hits in the last years instead of the years before. So like to 20 to 15, there's a lot less. So that's really like these digital twins in medicine are going up. And also big media like Guardian and others taking it up, that topic. There is a new technology which you can use and leverage, and not always talking about AI and ML, so about that ChatGPT hype. It's really about the digital twins as we understand it, so based on physical simulation. So there's really a lot going on, and also in medicine it is more and more of a topic. And if you take a look on the numbers for like, so the annual growth rate, for example, it is predicted to be very high. Also, Gartner identified that Gartner is really a good source of market research and development, so it's not like anyone. So they say by 25% of all healthcare delivery organizations will include a form of digital twin initiatives in their digital transformation strategy. So this is really a big part. This is a big hype. We can go forward, and we want to blaze that trail to go there and also combine knowledge. That's why we have so much other competitors and even other companies and partners here today to discuss that topic. We have to develop this hype, and we have to develop this market. It's not going with just Simq alone, and so we have to stick our heads together and see how we can go further. Then the base for our digital twins, just shortly, is Simq platform. So Simq platform, you have to understand it. It's not a platform where everybody is and talks about it, and like everybody goes to. Simq platform is a development platform and a tool to develop medical devices using simulation or other mathematical and digital twin technologies. So it's not that everybody should be on this platform. What we do, we use this development platform put it into and reuse it for other indications and applications. That's important to know. And what we actually want to do is we want to combine patient-specific data with empirical data. So the problem with empirical data at the moment, there's a big hype with AI, and they say, okay, AI will solve so many medical questions. But the biggest problem is not the technology on AI. The biggest problem is to acquire data to train your models, because the state of the art in medicine is still quality of life questionnaires and data in the PACS system or something like this, or KISS systems, which are quite unsorted. So every physician knows if you plan a study, if you do a study, better have a prospective study with the study protocol instead of just using post data because you don't know how they were acquired or what does it say. So for example, ultrasound measurements are very user specific and not objectified. So that is something we can work on with simulation in these digital twin simulations to provide data for machine learning, to have objective data for each patient, maybe with the same systematic error, but we have data in objectifying it. And then we can train models with it and use for AI. So I think it's a very important role of physics-based simulation to provide this in the next years and down the road to support AI and ML. So this combination is key from my perspective. And also would have to be done if we can leverage clinical data in that it is used. We have to have a benefit and it have to be user friendly. So every clinician that you really get it on the bedside, it have to be just straight away and easy to use the software. Otherwise you won't do it because you don't have time and the benefit of it. So you have to have a good software to collect those data and to get into this market. That is very, very, very important. And also, not unless important, is a reusable technology in a reusable regulatory framework. So you have to have a process in place and software in place which you can reuse to validate and verify your clinical data, because that's a challenge, and also to build clinical evidence for your products. So you have to learn it. We had to learn it a lot. It's getting better, I would say, but there's still a long way to go. But really in a concise way, to collect all these evidences and bring it to the market, get a CE or FDA mark. So that's not easy, and it's a journey. We all have to go together. So to jump over some what is the status at the moment. Simq OSA, our tool to support obstructive sleep apnea, which was presented also last year, is in the terms of getting CE certified. As due to MDR struggle and lack of notified bodies, we are lagging behind a bit, but we're hoping now that we got our CE mark in Q1 2024 for the tool. We just integrated CT and CBCT data to also include them into the analysis. At the beginning, it was just MRI, so that's also good. So our automatic machine learning segmentations are beefed up with data that we can do CT and CBCT segmentation top of MRI. And also we really going forward and trying to integrate our Simq OSA tool into healthcare platforms and others. So for example, in IPS Case Designer, to do an airway simulation and an airway analysis within other tools. So it should supplement to other tools, because the usage of a software just for one reason is not that appealing for physicians. That's it. So they want to have it integrated in other tools. And that's actually the state of OSA. So it's going quite well forward, and we're hoping to if we have to CE mark, even beef up our clinical evidence and do more studies to show that there is an opinion to show anatomical reasons, and there is a benefit in doing that of OSA patients. The next tool, what we also presented in the workshops this morning, which were not streamed, is Simq VIT. So this is also getting more grip and a lot of traction in the last years in the market, or in the last year, which is a cool tool to really just virtually assess the strength of custom implants, because you cannot test them if they made just once, so you cannot physically test them, and you have to find a way in streamlined, predefined workflows to get an assessment how good they are, or if they are appropriate, functional, and safe for a patient. And basically, to cut it down, what it does is it's just applying physiological boundary conditions to patient-specific situation and test the implants. And also it does in reporting for the quality management system of for the medical device manufacturer. So following FDA guidelines, etc. So just to have a beefed up design history file. And we have a new release coming, so Simq BIT 3.0. So what it can do more is actually new workflows, new anatomical regions. We will have contextual material limits, so which mean you can test dynamic loadings like chewing, and also static load cases like biting. So if you have like a case of a reconstruction where patients probably have a lot of force and can bite, you can test it differently than saying, okay, I want to have a safe implant for a patient who's probably chewing with lower forces, but in a repetitional manner. So that's something which simplifies the usage and of the software. And the user interface was a bit reworked, but the UX is better with the feedback of us customers. And also what we included is a user management portal to cope with the user questions. And we started with it, but we need to have a concise way to also manage your simulations and user accounts. So that's what we did. So give a short round trip about how the software looks. So basically that's Simq BIT, the new login window. And then we're going further. So it is actually quite easy. So you have a dashboard where you can see all your recent simulations. You can see in the simulation queue, is the simulation running or not? And you can just open it and very simply just show deformations of your patient-specific implant, show normalized strain to see where is bone highly loaded, where not, show transparent bodies and also material limits. So is it above a certain threshold, for also shear stresses, and also tension and phremesis stresses, which is quite cool that you can really easily interpret, is my implant safe for that patient, or should I change something in the design or not? And also we can show these forces, so we just slightly switched it in presentation, so we show the value through a contour plot, so you see easily where are the most of the force is transferred into the skull and into the bones. That's quite good. And also we just simplified the load case view to really see, okay, what's happening, where is the force applied, and how it is working. So that's actually the main changes. The rest is also there, and what comes through it with the release, we have new workflows. So what is coming so new to us is subposterior mandible implants, orthognathic mandible implants, and also the dental area. So what we're really going forward is we also see the need for these medical devices, so for these personalized medical devices in the dental area, to have a simulation, to have the discussion between the dentists and the dental technicians easier. So to really find an optimized solution between the aesthetic approach and also the preserving of teeth, for example, and where to put implants. So that's something, or how to leverage implants. So that's actually quite beneficial, and we are introducing this new dental workflow to verify the mechanical strength of these tooth and implant supported bridges, and to really support documentation, because there's a quite easy benefit to it, or really why it is done is there's a regulatory need for it. So the regulation for MDR and custom-made devices are getting tighter and tighter, because mass customized devices is really a thing. So it is just adopted a lot, but the regulatory approval or the regulatory side of things is not that up to date. And there's, for example, the FDA leapfrog guidance, which says so the maximum of 5, for example, you can do 5 devices, then you have to go for a 510K or an approval. And this is also in the Europe, as the regulations are written now, valid for dental implants. So dental implants have to be are a medical device, and they are so-called custom-made devices after this regulation. And it says you have to follow the MDR 13485 certification and the MDR rules if you provide medical or dental bridges. So this is what it states right now. We'll see how that develops in the future. There is also position papers of dental technicians that this is not possible, obviously, but it will tighten up. So they're like at the moment, okay, let's watch it and see how it develops, but the regulations say it at the moment. So IMDRF regulations say dental bridges are a custom-made device, and they have to come up with some ideas how to validate this. And that's exactly where we want to go in with Simq VIT. But on top of that regulatory things, there are a lot of benefits also for dental technicians and dentists in the discussion. So they can patient specifically make restoration safe and aesthetical as thin as possible. If they have a simulation, usually they just have depending on the geometry, it shouldn't be not thinner than this in a certain area, but that is even not taking into account where in the jaw it is. So the Caesar, for example, is not that strengthened or not that highly loaded than the molar area, but it has the same rules basically. And so we can also streamline this documentation. And the manufacturers have the possibility to really reduce the number of customer complaints, because these dental bridges are breaking also a lot of times. So this is something we want to help with. So that's to Simq VITs. Now you can, I would like to give you a short intro into Simq Me, which is new. So if you're a customer, you can go there and log in. So also you can find it with just typing in simq.me, and you come in our user portal, which is hopefully beefed up with more functionality in the future. For now, I just show what is there. So you do the login, and what you can actually see is you can first of all download new versions. So beta versions and or other versions you can just download and install on your computer, which makes the deployment much easier. Then you can manage your user account, and you can also see a job list as an admin or as a user, and you see what is going on with your jobs, how long is the duration, how long, when it was submitted, is it running, is it failed, etc., etc. So you can really check it very easily in a user interface and see what's going on. You can manage your products and manage your subscription. Actually, that's what we also can do and what comes next. And also what we want to do in the future is really get more data and KPIs into this environment, because that's very valid use for quality management for manufacturers and also for clinicians. So to really have quality management KPIs in there, objective data which you can take into your plannings, etc. So last but not least, we are going into new area into stock implants. So we want to personalize stock implants at the point of care. So patient-specific devices are a cool new thing, and patient-specific devices are very valuable and good, but they're also expensive. So it's not that you can do it right away, and the market will probably also expand a lot, but personalized stock implants will be there all the time. So what we want to do is we want to personalize those implants at the point of care, and how we want to do it. So basically, we started development, and what we do is we use CT data and use so-called statistical shape models, which are population-based models, to morph and fit it to the patient-specific situation. So to the CT, to a rough CT, which you actually can segment quite fast. But when you fit those, morph and fit your statistical population-based model to this roughly segmented bone structure, you have a very good known model, and where are ligaments, where are all other problems, and very fast. So this will happen, or this happens in a few seconds, and you fit that, and you don't have to go through lengthy segmentation. And then we can define the surgical planning, basically, do either a simulation to see the kinematics, or just simply select an implant which is appropriate for the patient and pre-personalize it for the patient. That you have a plan, that you have an idea in the surgery how to go on. And I'll show you how that will look like. It is basically, it looks like our software. What you do is you choose an anatomical region. So the workflow is always the same for different anatomical regions. So for example, orthognatics, or in this case, a pelvis fracture. So what you basically do is you upload your CT data, and after you did that, you just import them, and you have a rough segmentation. So with everything in there, also the calibration bars, etc. So really rough model of a fracture, which can surely not be taken for simulation or something. But it's really just threshold-based segmentation. What we then do is we put landmarks onto it and fit our statistical shape model to it with a quite good fit and estimation of how the hip should look like after it is repositioned together. So the reduced positions of it. Then you put in very easily with an overlay, you put in the fractures to just define them, define those fractures, and then there's a cool thing, we have like a digital plate catalog. So plate library, which you can pick plates from and just put them virtually onto your patient. So with very easy gestures, and also identify where you want to have screws, where not, and just define your surgery. And with that easy definition, you can first of all do a surgical plan, so like a part list, which is actually for logistics very important in the hospital, that you have a fast surgery and the trend is going to single packed implants. So you really want to know which implant you want to have in the OR, and the nurses and the OR technicians have to prepare and don't have to run between the OR and your storage to get a new implant. And also what you want to avoid single packed implants in throwing them away. So if it's the wrong one, it goes to the bin. So you have to get another one, and it's like a few €100 just down the drain, and you don't want to have that in the future. So that's why you want to have that implant selection. What you also can present is a pre-band plan, so that you can band your implants before going to surgery, and also to have a plan which one to go first. So like to communicate within the surgery with where you start to put in an implant. This is very important in the OR, as we learned that you have to have a game plan before going in there, and that everybody knows what comes next. That is saving OR time, and saving OR time is what you want to have with digital solutions. That's what bringing value to it. On top of that, as we have accidentally a virtual planning, we can also do some simulation and see is it stable or not. So for very complex fractures, we can just look what says the stability index, is it good enough or not. So that's the in silico part of it, and all that together is really makes it possible for surgeon to select the most optimal implants at the point of care and verify your way to go there, to communicate your way to there, and that really streamlines logistics and reduces OR time. So that's what we want to do. So a lot going on at Simq. I'm really thankful to all our partners. These are not all, but these are the important partners, or very important partners of us. I want to thank you all. That's really cool that we have those and can do a lot of research in this new topic, in this new area, and trying to find a way to get this into the market. And last but not least, I really want to thank my team, Simq team, which is growing and growing and growing, and I'm really proud of them. I'm really happy what is accomplished. They do a great job. They work very hard, a lot of pressure, and I'm very happy to have such a great team and go on with them. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy presentations.